All right, everyone, and good evening. It's 8 p.m. on the 17th, and those of you who were here earlier got to watch Alan and I chat at length about pretty much nothing. Alan has been with me in many PR assignments before, and he's done some wonderful things. I've rewarded him by not letting him do PR and instead do marketing, which is a fate worse than death. So, and he is going to join us to show us the Waterpreneur Academy. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share screen and show everyone what's going on. All right, water's the new gold. And why is water recession proof? One reason is that water rates are not regulated in America. And so they are the most likely commodity, everyday commodity, unlike things like energy, it's not something that it has limits. And so water rates, we believe, will rise, and it's going to be something that is going to put the emphasis on recycling, on water treatment, all kinds of interesting things. In any case, it is December 17th, briefing number 91. As usual, we've got our forward-looking statements, according to which we are not prophets. And the first thing I'm going to show you is the LD Micro event that we did on Monday. As you know, we announced that we would present at the 13th annual main event on December 14th, and we did that. And so without further ado, I am going to play the video.
Hi, everyone. I am here with Riggs Eckelberry, the CEO of Origin Clear. Riggs, take it away.
Thank you very much. Origin Clear is the water company for the new economy, and I'll explain why in a moment. All right. Of course, the usual safe harbor statements. You know the drill. We are not prophets. We try our best to tell it like it is. We're also going to be discussing a Regulation D offering that, of course, is not SEC approved. All right, let's get on with the video, and then we'll get on with the presentation.
Estimados amigos y colegas, es un gran honor para mí hablar con ustedes en este día tan memorable. Hace 3 años ustedes nos hicieron una promesa que integrarían nuestra tecnología en su sistema completo para el tratamiento del estiércol.
About 3 years ago, Deputy Pork went to research the treatment of hog manure. They came upon our technology and reached out, and we negotiated with them a license. Now, 3 years later, they've built a working commercial system. It's proven and it's working amazingly well.
Origin Clear Technologies, ese apoyo que nosotros hemos necesitado al final de nuestro largo trabajo de 20 años, la participación de Origin Clear. Muy importante para el éxito que estamos teniendo con la puesta en marcha de nuestra planta piloto. La tecnología Origin Clear, que ha simplificado, dentro de que es una parte compleja del ecosistema, nuestra reacción ha sido wow, esto es increíble. El estiércol consigamos separarlo en una fase sólida que podemos llevar a compostaje y consigamos agua clara para poder regar la asociación con Origin Clear ha sido como marcar el último gol en un partido de fútbol.
Yo creo que juntos realizaremos cambios significantes en la industria de la cría de ganado. Podemos cambiar un problema real a una solución que elimina el desperdicio y también la contaminación de las lagunas de estiércol de larga duración. Muchísimas gracias otra vez a ustedes y que tengamos mucho éxito juntos en el futuro.
Well, that is a video that essentially demonstrates how strong our technology is. And as Arthur Clarke said, any technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. And that's precisely been our problem because the water industry does not love magic. So what have we been doing? This was late 2019, and we hit 2020 and COVID, and things got very, very interesting. Let me tell you more about that. So we're working to transform this enormous industry with two major things. We have our modular endpoint systems for the new decentralized water, and we have managed services. What does that mean? Okay, first of all, we have built this incredible technology, as you saw in the video. We have these great technology partners. We have a manufacturing division that is extremely sophisticated, and we have this patented modular water systems. And this was where we stood earlier this year. But there were still chronic problems. We just could not get past the slow water projects. What to do? And of course, this was our COVID moment. And we realized it comes down to something very, very simple, which is if you can fund it, they will come. So that's what we started to focus on. We developed something called Water as a Career, and to take all these entrepreneurs and put them to work. And now we're working on Water as a Service, which is basically sign a piece of paper and you've got your system. And I'll be discussing how we're doing that specifically. Okay, what is the reality of 2020? Of course, water is not getting better. It's getting worse, climate change, and many, many issues, including lack of infrastructure, but not just in Africa, but also in the US. There's lots of issues, and remarkably small amount of sewage is actually treated. US, we have these Safe Drinking Water Act violations, and the economic disaster of COVID, which economically is worse than the Spanish flu, which killed more than 100 million people. So that actually created a situation where small businesses were destroyed and continue to be as I speak, which means that we have people available to join us in the water industry, which needs them desperately. We've got a silver tsunami as well. But now, what about the government, the infrastructure bills, et cetera? Well, the short answer is they haven't done it, and they're not about to do it now. Since 1960, they have continued to fail to put in proper infrastructure. Federal contribution to water systems has been dropping for decades. And it's like your old Toyota Celica that you keep adding oil to, but it's just becoming more expensive to run all the time. And it's getting worse. And the investment gap is $100 billion a year. The answer is end users, because just like cell phones and energy and so forth, you can do it at the point of use. And we have here a landscape brought to us by our friends at Lux Research, which shows you all these satellite water treatment systems, and they require advanced treatment technologies for localized reuse, which is very important, and that's what we have. So the good news is less load on these central systems, and also lots of interesting technologies at the edge to make it efficient and to enable recycling, which in the United States is historically low. But capital remains the problem. Remember that municipalities can raise bonds. Wall Street loves them, billions of dollars, everybody loves that. But individual businesses do not have that luxury. So capital is an issue. And that's why we're developing these things we call Water as a Career and Water as a Service. We have completed a first major pilot program in operation in Phoenix to purify pool water. We're also working on projects to clean up trailer park lagoons, and believe it or not, trailer parks have their own little manure lagoons. And finally, we're working, as you saw in Spain there, with farm manure lagoon treatment. This is that successful one called the Pool Preserver, where we put an entrepreneur into business very successfully, and it is now a model. We've also built a career builder program to help these candidates, of which there are many, build their business and market it. So that's going very, very well. Now, water managed services. What do we mean by that? Well, we start with, we have a wonderful capability to do custom systems. That's great. It may be worthwhile being a product and also a career builder. So that's where we move past the evaluation into a standardized product and develop the career builder package. Of course, we're not going to compete with the regular leasing companies because they, of course, are very, very competitive markets. So we put qualified people into standard leasing packages. But we are now funding equipment rental and career building for people who don't qualify. And most people don't, because these days there's lots of money, but it's very hard money. And it takes 2 years of P&Ls to get a lease. And most people are starting new. But we retain the title so that we can do a rent-a-center kind of model and retrieve the machines if they don't work. And of course, our machines are portable. Now, we are working to pre-fund industrial water systems as water as a service. This is very exciting. Another company in the industry called Cambrian Innovation has done a wonderful job of that, has raised a lot of money to do it, and has really paved the way. And we're now moving in that direction too. Of course, with managed services, you manage everything. You are taking care of every detail, and you end up with double-digit returns. And we are now busy building a capital fund. Okay. Now, this internal vehicle is basically, the capital fund for the rental or pay-as-you-go type programs, and the selection occurs. We manage that with double-digit returns for ourselves initially, builds our asset base, which points to a future potential listing on a national exchange. Place the equipment with multiple owners. These machines last a long, long time, so their ROI is superb. And we learn lessons for making a public market, which we think is the future. And we have a partner called Philanthro Investors. They are an Inc. 500 leader in real estate who has now turned its attention to water. And they have a secret sauce that they put together, and they are in 19 countries. And this kind of gives us our international growth. They are also helping us develop water as a career, locating international investors, especially for the capital fund, and developing this network for international rollout, which is great news. So, in short, you have the ability to participate with us in our future as this water company for the new economy, meaning employing the people out of business, pre-funding these systems, putting them on pay-as-you-go type systems, which is the wave of the future. How do you participate? Well, it's very simple. We have a convertible structure with double-digit dividends. You can redeem it at any time for double in stock priced at the later price, which is a measure of protection. And there is up to quadruple warrant coverage depending on your level of investment. The unit is 100,000. You can invest less. And finally, this is for accredited investors only. You can invest in the planned capital fund, but that is a minimum $1 million unit, and it is a secured asset investment. Well, why would you invest? Of course, we've got this unique Origin Clear process. We've got this water as a career. Don't sell systems. Instead, help them be a white knight instead of selling. Help us learn how to build the first water investment marketplace, what we call the Airbnb for water, which is very, very promising, but it's in the future. And so you get paid to wait. You get your double-digit cash dividends. You convert to stock, and that one of full warrant coverage. With us in the audience is Ken Berenger and Devin Angus. Ken is an amazing strategist. He helped me build this strategy. Just book a call with him at oc.gold/Ken. And I do a weekly CEO briefing that's very, very popular. Simply book at oc.gold/CEO. I'd love to see you on Thursdays at 5 p.m. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Riggs. We will now move into the Q&A portion. If panelists would like to come to video and also unmute yourself, so you may ask questions for the next 7 minutes.
Hey, Riggs, this is Hamid Korsan. Could you just talk about what the qualification process is as far as your hiring or approving of the people that you lease out the equipment to?
I mean, this is a really good question because what we found is that ordinary FICO style credit, excludes a lot of people who could otherwise make it happen. Our partner, Philanthro Investors, has ended up, number 85 on the Inc. 500 in real estate, putting people into homes they could never get otherwise, and their default rate is around 6%. It's extremely low. And we found that, as you know, with microlending in places like Africa, that what you have to create, of course, is a relationship, and you have to really, the number one thing is to know that they will be proactive, especially as waterpreneurs. You know, you can figure out who's going to be like, oh, I think I'll do this, and what's this machine? Oh, well, whatever. So you have to find out if they will be go-getters, and that's the number one requirement. We are learning from the real estate side, the philanthropic investor partnership, to determine exactly that profile.
Are the equipment yours, or are you leasing someone else's equipment?
We build all our own equipment. We have a wonderful shop in Texas with about 25 people. It's the basis of our revenue. You know, this company does about $4+ million a year, and it all comes out of Texas. What is good about that is we can pretty much tell them to build anything from a $50,000 system to a $2 million one. And we have this proprietary modular systems, these long-lived, pre-packaged, drop and go type systems, which is a revolution in water systems.
And my other question was, how many people do you have on the platform right now?
So what we did this year is we funded the first proof of concept with this machine called the Pool Preserver. Our first test case with a waterpreneur called Ryan Kustra. It's worked very well, and we've been building the Waterpreneur University with him. So we've now wrapped up building the Career Builder package. In addition, we have conventional leasing going on, of course. We just did the first trailer park deal, for example. But the pure Water as a Career model has been done with one proof of concept.
We have about 3 minutes left if there are any other questions.
Hi, this is John Casserini. How do you see the amount of people on the system ramping, and how are you garnering attention to the system to allow these people to come in and ramp?
John, thank you very much. The first Facebook video we put out on this got over 1 million views. It's extremely popular concept. We are frankly overwhelmed by people who want to do this. And so there's really no problem with getting people into it. It's definitely a viral type phenomenon. We are inviting people to invest in a $10 million capital fund called an Origin Clear Finance. And we intend to put in place 74 small, medium to large systems as part of that fund. And it will, of course, and then we'll be done. We don't want to keep going with it because our next stage is we want to export this. We think, just like, Airbnb only did its own apartments for a little while because you want to put other people in the game. You want to create a marketplace. That is our goal, is to create a marketplace, but we really want to learn it ourselves. And so for a time, we're going to do it, as a company store, so to speak. And then our plan is 2021 and beyond is to create this Airbnb for water, which I think is super exciting.
It certainly sounds it. How easily do you think the next phase of your growth, how long till you start implementing that?
So it's very much, we do a good job of maintaining our drip financing, but really it's all about capital. Fortunately, we've started to receive MOUs for the capital fund. And we believe that we're going to be able to deliver systems in the new year, both Water as a Career for waterpreneurs and also Water as a Service for these individual businesses. And we will be actually able to do it. It may only start with $1 million or $2 million, but I do believe we can get the momentum going.
All right, thank you.
Sounds promising. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Riggs. Thank you all for being here. I am going to end the meeting, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. I brought up in the presentation with wow, lots of people here tonight. I'm super proud to have you guys on board. Thank you for joining us. I mentioned that the government could not help, and there was problems with infrastructure. Well, that's just been confirmed by the Black & Veatch. Black & Veatch is a major water equipment company, and their water report, 2020 Strategic Directions, confirms the situation. this is what's going on. Take a look at this. This is a survey that was done by with the American Society of Civil Engineers, and it gave a seriously bad grade. And look, 80% see as the most challenging problem aging water and wastewater infrastructure. Now, also, meanwhile, see at the bottom there, as the water system grows and grows, the pipes that have been in the ground generally only get attention when they're close to failure. And this we know, and sure enough, there you go. It's like when how do you know when to take the next step? When something is about to break or fail? Oh Lord, that is a problem. So we can see that. And then the second is regulatory bodies demanding action. But the number one thing is things about to break, which is pretty much par for the course. Okay, now I wanted to quickly bring up to date on this, the Origin Clear Fund, our capital fund. Has been some good progress. Update of today. So we, as I said last week, we had that first MOU in hand for $1 million, and we thank that investor. We are in discussions for the second one. An MOU is a memorandum of understanding, and it is a good faith but non-binding commitment. Now, the big news is the $12 million potential investor has agreed. He is foreign. He's from another country, and he's coming to Miami to meet with me and to put this deal together. And then the $6 million one is considerably more conservative, so he may follow the $12 million one. That's where that stands. So things are moving fast on this. It's very, very exciting. With that, I'm going to let Alan have his day in the sun. So tell us what this is about.
A day in the sun would be very nice. Right now, I've got a day in the snow outside. But to introduce our Waterpreneur Academy, what we want to be able to do is when we get folks on board, we not only want to teach you how the equipment works and everything that you need to know behind that, but also how to take it and market it. So if you've not really been in this business before, we've pulled together the lessons that are going to get you there, both online and handling the customers and handling the equipment. So if we go to the next slide, when you log in, you have two choices. If you haven't been here before, you want to go on the left, figure it all out, register. One of the nice things that I like about this, and with the past in cybersecurity, you put your name and email address in here, you get a confirmation email. So you're not, if you type in and it accidentally goes to someone else, you're not going to be having your information go everywhere else. So if you sign in, that goes, you confirm, it comes to you. Once you're there, you'll see the screen on the right where you'll log in using your information when you come back. So since you've set up that account, it knows who you are, and whenever you come back, it will know where you are in your classes, with the playbooks, with all the other programs here, it will know who you are. So from there, what I want to first show you is the marketing playbooks. We'll teach you how to set up your website, how to do everything from Google listings to your social media, your individual Facebook reviews and your Google reviews, as well as the online directory listings.
And Alan, this was piloted with our Waterpreneur, our first Waterpreneur, right?
It absolutely is. And we've been going back and forth with him. We want to make sure that the things we're doing are helping drive his business. And in fact, what I'm going to do when we go into the next part of the program, which is showing you the how-to on the next slide. And this shows you all of the things that we've gone out and we videotaped our team going to the customer's house, setting everything up. And it's all right there to help you understand. So on the next page, we have a link that will take you straight into the videos. And if we can go ahead and click right on that.
Okay, so we're actually in the Pool Preserver how-to. So here's the live screen.
And we're going to be doing this on all of the products. So the Pool Preserver is the first one we're testing out. Once we have this done, then we're going to go down our other product lines and do the same thing. So if we click there on the how-to video for number one, this goes into a section of the screen where we've got the videos that show you, here's how wonderful our equipment looks when you drive it out. And then we have a series of questions that we'll have you tested on. And at the end of your answering the question, we'll let you know if you're right or if you're wrong. And at the end, we'll let you know your percentage. In fact, once you finished it all, we'll even give you a certificate saying that you finished it.
Here's these multiple choice quotes, in fact, right here.
So should you provide a quote over the phone without doing a site visit? Let's just go ahead and click if it is easier, and We'll see. Okay.
No, you should do a
So,
site visit. Okay, good.
I am not the one setting up the equipment.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looks like
Apparently
we're not
Riggs
really.
isn't either. All right, 3 out of 3.
Anyway, this is excellent. So I'm not going to spend much time going through it, but we've got a nice long, well, not excessively long thing, but it gets people, understanding what they got to do. We can go a lot deeper. So there's quoting, setting up, testing, preparing, how the process works, et cetera, all that good stuff.
But if you're heading out to the client's house, you need a little refresh before you get there. You can access this on your phone. It's whatever you need to know, it's going to be right here.
And then the playbooks and the business in a box are also there. So that's excellent. I'm gonna wrap that up just because we have a couple more things to show, but it looks good so far, Alan. I'm loving it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move to the next. Quick thing about the economy. I'm interested in the trends that are going on. We know that the Fed thinks things are going better, and really a very good unemployment rate and 4.2% growth. So that's excellent. But the issue here is that, according to Zero Edge, low-income households are not in good shape. We found that the median household checking account went way up with the stimulus, but then here's what's been happening with checking account balances. And in general, if you're in the fourth quarter, the fourth highest quarter of the economy, you're surviving okay. It's a very tough situation for the bottom half of all consumers. And that's an alarming situation. We also see November printed a down month, which was unexpected. So what can we learn from that? Well, we can learn from that is that this is an uneven economy, an uneven recovery, and you want to be making sure that you're investing in a way that is not going to be dangerous for you. And it remains, last week we covered the inflationary situation. We think that's still going to be a problem. And so making money on money in a way that does not depend on the consumption by the bulk of the population is, we think, a smart way to go. And that's the most I'm going to venture as an economic expert, which I'm not. Now, there's a quick video here because we were talking about this new offering, which I covered in the LD Micro event, so I'm not going to go over it again. What's a warrant? Very important question. So here's a quick video that I shot 2 nights ago, which gets us into the what is a warrant situation. So, and let's see what this thing looks like. It's kind of fun.
Hi, Rick Zekelberry here with a quick briefing about warrants. Origin Clear has now launched a new offering, we call it Series R, which has up to 4 warrants. Now, what that means is an opportunity to multiply your investment without having to pay for it up front. You're basically investing your basic amount, and then as the stock price changes, you're able to purchase these warrants and end up with more stock. The good news is you don't have to risk it now. So let's take a look at how that works. Our basic warrant that we have is warrant A, and it is simply 5 cents, 12 months, and cashless option. And I'll explain what that means in a second. So let's take a look at your typical investment. Now remember, you can invest less than that, but that's the normal investment. And you have 100% coverage, which means that for this warrant, you can invest up to $100,000 or any part of it, right? So that's $100,000. You have a 5 cent strike, as we call it. This is a strike or exercise price is what you pay for it, which means for $100,000, you get 2 million shares. Very simple, right? Now, out of that, let's say that the stock price goes to 10 cents. Now you have an opportunity to go ahead and exercise the warrant. Well, at 10 cents, your 2 million shares would now be worth $200,000. You can afford to do it. You pay the $100,000 and you end up with $100,000 profit. Great. Let's say now that the stock price goes to 20 cents, right? Well, this becomes 400,000 and this becomes a $300,000 profit. Not bad, huh? Now this assumes that you paid cash for it and you have a cashless option with this warrant, but you can always pay cash, which there's pros and cons. I'll explain how that works in a second. Okay, so let's take a look at what a cashless option does. Well, basically, you're looking at your 2 million shares multiplied by the later stock price. Let's call it 10 cents, right? And we subtract from that, again, 2 million shares times your cost, which is 5 cents. And let's see how it works. Well, it's $200,000, right, minus $100,000. And how do you pay for that? You pay for that with stock. Well, that's basically half. So here's those 2 million shares. Remember, the 2 million never changes. And you deduct 1 million, which is half, and you end up with 1 million shares. Not bad, but listen to this. Let's say if we go to 40 cents here. Now, you didn't have to give up 1 million shares, right? Because you're only giving up 1/8 of 2 million, not 1/2, which is 250,000 shares, which means here you now have 1.75 million shares. More shares, right? So in general, cashless works best if you have a nice big difference because you won't have to give up so many shares. A lot of people don't even like to give up this many shares and they pay cash. If you can do it, great. If you can't do it, then you can't do it. But there's one benefit to cashless, and this is an interesting one. Now, not a lot of people know about this. And that is that, let's take a look at passage of time. Here it is. Okay. And I make my investment here at $100,000, month 1, and it goes along here, and month 12 is when the warrant's no good anymore. Well, let's say at the 6-month mark, I decide to exercise the warrant. Now remember, 6 months is when you can sell shares that were issued by a company. And if you do it with cash, so you pay your $100,000 right here, you're going to have to wait another 6 months to be able to sell it. But interestingly enough, if you do it with $0 here, guess what? You can sell it right away. And that is because no money changed hands. Therefore, the only monetary transaction that occurred was here. And so right away, you exercise and you're able to sell, which is good because if you have a cash warrant and you have to wait 6 months, well, you're going to be conservative, aren't you, right? So here is, again, that time graph, and we have, there we go, 50 cents, 40 cents, 30 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents. So here's our 5-cent warrant. It dies right here at 12 months. Okay, so if I have a cash warrant, stock price, hypothetically, goes up here and does this business. Okay, if I do it at 10 cents, well, I'm going to have to wait 6 months, right? And so during that time, that's not a lot of difference. Things could happen. This 5 cents is not a lot of buffer. So with cash warrants, you want to do it as high as possible. Another important rule for all warrants is do it at the end. Don't do it you don't get anything by doing it before the very end. Right there, day 364, exercise your warrant. Why? First of all, there's no tax penalty, right? as long as you're a warrant, you're not taxed on it. Number two, you have the least risk possible. So you wait. Don't exercise too soon. Nothing gained by it. So that's in short what warrants are all about. They're fun. They really make investing more rewarding by giving you multiples of your investment. And they can also sometimes be cashless, which is good if you don't want to put out money. To know more about it, please feel free to email invest@originclear.com. You can always talk to Ken Berenger, just oc.gold/Ken in your browser. Or of course, you can call us. And the number, I remember it well, it's the old LA number, 323-939-6645. And you can get Ken Berenger at extension 201, Devin Angus at extension 116. But invest@originclear.com works great. And that email will eventually get to me if you want to talk to me. Love to hear from you about this. It's an exciting time for the company. Do join us. Thank you.
Cool. That was fun. And hopefully that was helpful to everyone. And feel free to give me chat feedback if you think that I missed anything there. We're just about done. I'm going to just move on here. And a very important message to existing investors, which is, and I'm going to turn off the video optimization. Boom. How to double your investment without investing more capital. So if you're an existing investor, please call Ken. I sent you all an email, but this is a very, very good program that you really need to know about. And it is quite reliable, and I think you'll enjoy it. So do call him. Now, I'm wrapping up, and I'm going to tell you that we're not going to have a show on the 24th. For those of us who were brought up in the Christian persuasion, that's Christmas Eve. I don't want to play favorites, but the 24th is, well, if I play Santa Claus, I don't want to be on this show. But we are going to do New Year's Eve. So, there'll be plenty of time before midnight. So please do join us on New Year's Eve. Thank you all for being with us. It's been fun. And I would like to wish you all, again, happy holidays. And really, remember that, remember to stay safe, right? I'll see you in 2 weeks. Alan, it's a pleasure having you on board.
Thank you, Rick.
And thank you, Keith. He just wished us all a Merry Christmas. I appreciate that. And again, everyone, thank you and good night.